Let's try the new 2025 Jack Daniel's Single Barrel Heritage. Welcome to Average Joe's Whiskey. My name is Joe. Today we're trying the new Jack Daniel's Single Barrel Heritage. They put out one of these Heritage every so often, and supposedly this is going to be a shelf product, a permanent addition to their line. However, they have said that before and it has not always been the case. Sometimes the permanent edition or the permanent release doesn't or isn't quite as good as what they initially put out. So let's get this into a glass real quick and then I'll tell you a little bit about what we're drinking. So this 2025 Jack Daniel's Heritage is their standard Old No. 7 mash bill. However, there are a couple of interesting things that they did a little bit differently. First off, the barrel. Instead of their typical lightly toasted, heavily charred barrels, they used a heavily toasted, lightly charred barrel. Your typical Jack Daniel's barrel is toasted usually for 12 minutes. These barrels were toasted for 24 minutes. So it is a heavy toast and then a flash char. They don't char it like your typical barrel. They just char it enough so that they can continue to call it Tennessee whiskey. The other major difference with this Heritage here is the barrel entry proof. So this whiskey goes in the barrel at 100 proof instead of Jack Daniel's usual 125. So when you see that it is bottled at 100 proof, that is actually the barrel entry proof. So bottled at barrel entry proof. Rumor has it most of these were aged in the upper floors of the rick houses. Many of the barrels coming from Coy Hill, allegedly. Most of these barrels wound up at about 104 to 110 proof before they proofed it back down to 100. And 100 is where they bottled it. Now, I haven't even stuck my nose in the glass and I'm starting to get whiskey aromas. So let's get on with this. Wow. I'm gonna say real quick that I tried this the other night and already it smells way better than the first glass that I poured. The first glass was good, but this smells really good. I think I did myself kind of dirty here. Let me top this off a little bit. All right, let's get into this. Man, this has a really interesting nose. What is leaping out of the glass, I think, is like a toasted marshmallow. It is super toasty. It's got like a graham cracker note too. Like it kind of smells like a s'more. I'm not sure I get any chocolate, but aside from the chocolate, it smells like a s'more, which is awesome. Let's taste it. So immediately I get like a caramel and a brown sugar. It fills up the entire palate. And then the finish is just like ginger. Ginger and clove maybe. Like interesting baking spices that just kind of linger on the finish. Let's do that again. That was pretty sweet. So one thing I will say with these extra toasted whiskeys, a lot of the time, they're major vanilla bombs. Like Woodford Double Oaked for me tends to be a vanilla bomb. A lot of whiskeys with that toasted finish or just aged in toasted barrels come off very vanilla forward to me. And this is not a vanilla bomb. There's some vanilla in there for sure, but it's not overwhelming. And that's one thing I was kind of worried about. I don't know if you've ever tried candied ginger. It's like dried ginger, very thinly cut, coated with sugar. If you haven't tried it, it's amazing. It's like one of my favorite things in the entire world. I am kind of getting candied ginger notes in here, which is why I brought it up. Particularly on the finish. It's got a very candied ginger finish. Yeah, caramel for sure. That graham crackers coming through, the toasted marshmallow, and that candied ginger on the finish. Really good, interesting whiskey. So one thing I really like about this, it is significantly different from the regular Jack Daniel's flavor profile. Like, I'm hardly getting any banana on this at all. It's sweeter, it's got some baking spice, it's just totally different. The other thing I kind of like is that they figured out a new way to put out 7-year-old whiskey and make it different and exciting. By lowering the barrel entry proof and using the toasted barrels, it's like it's a whole new experience. So instead of just putting out 10, 12, 14-year-old whiskey, they kind of went back to the drawing board, played around with the process, and came up with something that's really interesting and really good. So hats off to Jack Daniels. I really like this. Now, I would be super interested that if this becomes a staple product, a part of the line, I wonder if they'd be willing to put out like a 10-year heritage barrel or an 11-year. We'll have to see. But just based on this experience, I feel like a 10-year heritage barrel would be amazing. I'd also kind of be curious to try it at whatever the cask strength is, like 105, 110, whatever it winds up at. I feel like that would be pretty interesting as well. It's pretty dark whiskey, considering the barrels are a heavy toast and only a light char. I think the whiskey got pretty dark. So Jack Daniels, great job, hats off. I really enjoyed this. All right, guys, that's all I got for today. Appreciate you taking the time to watch, and I will see you next time.